reinvigorated, still speaking to the downtrodden and incarcerated, like be free. Even if it's in your mind, you can make some more money, but can't make no more time. So while you're struggling and hustling in the midst of your grind, just take some time and see the sun shine. It's divine. What's up, y'all? It's Jaylon, and I go by Jaylon X. I am a multifaceted artist, actor, singer, songwriter. He, him, are my pronouns, and you can follow me on Instagram at Jaylon_X. You should probably also follow my podcast page at Men in Melanin. That's in the letter N, Melanin. So, yeah, that's me.
All right. So today we are going to be touching on celebration. Celebration is a loaded word. When we think about it, it's very complex when we talk about what time in our lives that we are in. But just off of no thinking, what would be the first thing that came to your mind when somebody said, we're about to have a celebration?
We are about to fellowship and commemorate some great feat that has happened, or some regular feat that we want to remind ourselves is important. It automatically makes me think about the things in my life that I should celebrate.
Come on now, that's beautiful. And when we dive deeper into celebration now, a lot of times people look at celebration as a us, as a we, as everybody has to do it together. But give me a time when you had to celebrate yourself by yourself in private and nobody knew except for you.
I actually think very recently, that's a great question. I think that lately I've been in a place for a while actually where I just haven't been that stimulated. Whether it's like physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Life is just kind of like, just been trekking along. I'm used to being so involved and doing so many things that, when life kind of gets to this point where I'm just, going to work and I'm going home and I have to be intentional about the other things, I can tend to get, really somber and bored and feel like I'm not, because I am a creative person, I do have creative goals. I feel like I'm not doing the things that I should be doing. I'm not developing the discipline to work towards my creative goals. But I guess a few weeks ago, I ended up getting a job at my old high school as a teacher. And my old debate team, I'm coaching that as well. And so I think there was just a moment where I was just driving. I was about to exit. I was driving 59, or I was going 45 north, about to exit 59. And I'm just looking at the downtown skyline, and I think it's like 4 or 5 o'clock, so the sky's getting like that orangish red. And I was thinking about where life was for me at the moment, and I just thought about, like, hey, you already living part of the dream. Like, you free, and you finding yourself a place where you finding some financial independence, and you got some good creative projects in the background, and you got some great things that you're looking toward, and you're young, and you're healing, and I just have to celebrate where I was. And it's not like any crazy feats were happening at the time, but I was just always so focused on what I felt like I should have been accomplishing that I had to take a moment and celebrate the fact that, like, I got my degree, and I just got a job, and I have healthy relationships, and just things that we take advantage of or take for granted. I have to make sure that I clap, at least thank the Lord for that moment.
Come on now. So you went through, during your answer, a period of like kind of trying to realize what you were really celebrating. How does it feel to kind of have those seasons where you don't feel like you need to be celebrated?
Those are, as someone, kind of feels like I've been celebrated a lot. Those are difficult. seasons, and I think when I got to those seasons, the first time I had to realize, like, okay, you're not used to not being clapped for. You know what I mean? You're not used to not having anything exciting going on. You're not used to not being overly stimulated. And so your question was, how did that feel? How was that?
How does that feel?
I can't always pinpoint it with a feeling. Sometimes it feels empty. Sometimes it feels lonely. Sometimes it feels like I'm lost, or feels like I'm just floating. It feels good on the back end, because every time I'm there, it's an opportunity for me to remind myself of actually how on par and how above average I am in my life has been, how actually surrounded by love and support I am, and how lonely I'm not. And so on the back end, it always feels good that I can get to that point, and that I got a God that sees me enough to bring me out of it, or to remind me at those lowest points, just how beautiful the life that I'm living is. So it sucks for sure, but I think those are the moments that I grow closer to myself. And when I'm in that lonely space and I'm in it, I realize that like I can be okay with like just me.
Come on now, that is beautiful. It was a study in 2018 done on children who did not get celebrated as much versus children who got celebrated every birthday, when they started walking, when they started moving. Do you feel like as adults we need to start celebrating our little things? Or do you think that it's okay to just not celebrate, and then once we get to this big feat, we celebrate?
I'm gonna definitely say we should celebrate ourselves more. I'm not saying like every celebration gotta like cost money and resources, but I will say I do. What's crazy is there are often times where I feel like the times where like nobody claps for me, or nobody hugs me, or nobody pats me on the back and tells me they're proud. Even though like those times suck for me, I feel like they push me to be a better friend and a more like observant friend, brother, sister. And they push me to clap for my friends for the little things. They push me to tell them I'm proud of them for the small things. They push me to hug them when I feel like they may need that embrace. Because yeah, man, and oftentimes once you've already completed like that big milestone, like that celebration is cool, but you've already celebrated, you've already given yourself, you've already felt the fulfillment of that. It's oftentimes with those little things, those small places in life where you really need somebody to come clap for you. I guess it's like when we're struggling the most, where we need people to clap us to the finish line, versus like when we're in a stride, sometimes you don't need that. So yeah, we should celebrate the little things. We should clap for each other and hug each other and tell each other we're proud of each other. Those things go a lot longer than I think we think they do.
Come on now. That was a beautiful answer. Now, digging deeper into us celebrating. Oftentimes we are forced to celebrate others when we feel very stagnant. So we can be celebrating somebody and it'd be great, and you have the pure intention of, I'm celebrating you for your great feat. But when you retreat inside of yourself, how do you deal with those emotions of when you're celebrating somebody and you still have that feeling of feeling kind of lost and floating?
Well, for me personally, I try to snap out of that like immediately, because I think I have to again think about like how many times was like people clapping for you, bro, and how dare you in this moment of somebody else's shine. Or I remember how when it was time for people to clap for me, and when they were, but I could see that like they had something else going on, or that they weren't really there, or that they were clapping just because they felt like they had to clap. I remember like how those things made me feel and rough, so I try to snap out of those things immediately. Because one, like it's really not in that moment, it's not about me. But if you find yourself in that space, and when I find myself in that space, Sometimes I gotta go on my journey of, remembering what God has done. And then, I try to, instead of focusing on what I feel like I'm not doing and not accomplishing, I try to dream again. And it's like young adult life, you start to focus so much on like trying to make sure that you're stable and financially dependent and that you have a direction that, sometimes you can forget to like dream because then you start to think about like, well, how I'm gonna get to the dream and like, that's not necessarily always the point of dreaming. And so I try to make sure that I dream again and those dreams remind me of what God is capable of doing in my life. And shoot, when I'm feeling like, dang, somebody else on and I'm not on, then it's like, all right, it's time to grind, Some folks can get jealous, but it's like, okay, what am I not doing to get on? Because if they home, if that blessing in the neighborhood, then shoot, you gotta be around the corner. Like, let me go stand outside and wait for mine. Let me go, grind. So I just try to exit that space as much as I can to support that person. And then if I can't exit that space, well, I sit with it, and I look back in the past and I dream, because that gives me visions of the future, and I thank God.
Come on now, that was beautiful. Now on to the happier side of celebration. What do you have to tell people who they don't really celebrate? They just go through and they're like, I'm gonna keep on grinding, keep on doing what I have to do. What is a piece of advice you can give somebody who is in that moment where they're like, I have too much on my plate to celebrate?
You ain't gotta do the most to celebrate yourself. That's one thing I've learned. Even like on birthdays, I had birthdays where I used to not like huge birthdays. And so then I got to a point telling people I didn't want to do anything for my birthday. And then nobody did anything for my birthday. And I was mad, sad. And then I realized it's not that it's not that I don't want anything done. I just want like real things, authentic, soft, gentle things. And sometimes I like to just do things for myself and for people to be there for me as I do them. So I would encourage you to you don't gotta celebrate like everybody else. That maybe there are smaller, more intimate ways that you can celebrate that make you feel just as fulfilled. Also, man, when you got that heavy plate, sometimes you just gotta throw some of that shit away, right? And it might mess up a relationship, and you might have to tell somebody no, or you might have to drop out on somebody, or you might have to not be the leader of this program, or you might have to quote unquote miss an opportunity. But the truth is, you can't miss nothing that God got for you. And that there's so many more opportunities in the future, so many more people to connect with. And you're a creator yourself, so even if it ain't nobody to connect with, you're gonna create the opportunities.